So you said you're happy you didn't have that service, but in which world of your books would you want to live? Like, if you could decide one world.
Yeah, I would absolutely live in the. I don't know. Okay, so that's. I feel like I'd want to live in the world of they both die at the end because.
Would you want to know when you die?
Yeah, I absolutely want to know when I would die.
Okay.
So this is so bizarre to me because for the past 5 years, you know, I get asked like, would you sign up for Deathcast? And I'm like, yeah, of course. That's why I created it. My anxiety of like dying unexpectedly is why I created Deathcast.
Okay,
So,
really?
but it's only been the past couple months that people have been pushing back on me, or even like you just said, like, really? And I'm like, yes, like of
Okay, but what is the point for you that makes you being fascinated or like want to know when you die?
Because like, again, like if I died right now, I haven't spoken to my mom in a couple days. I've not been able to catch up with my best friend. I'd want to make sure that like my money is being channeled to the right places. I need to make sure that someone's going to look after my dog. Like there are just so many
things that make me think about it, that it's actually not a bad idea.
So here's the thing, and it also like, and think about it in Deathcast where knowing that you did, because you're going to get a call between midnight and 3 a.m.
Yeah.
If you don't get the call, that means you're gonna live for that day, right? Like you're safe. So you can go do a scary thing. You can go climb a mountain. You can go skydiving. That doesn't mean you can't get hurt when those things are.
Okay, I see.
But the things that you're like, I don't want to do this. What if I die?
You're more motivated to do scary things because you know you're gonna survive.
Because you're safe for the most part.
I see.
And again, you will survive it. That does not mean that like you won't like break a bone or that you won't get so gravely injured that you just die the next day, right? Like, so you still have to make some considerations, but for the most part, like, I would get on a plane because I'm like, the plane's not gonna crash because you can't survive a plane crash. So it's, you know, like, I'm like,
I see.
So I would make a lot more like braver choices. I would travel more. I would do things that scare me.
No.
It's
what would it be a thing you would do if you would
skydiving?
Skydiving.
Because I'm someone who was so scared of heights, but in the past few years I've like discovered roller coasters, and I love a roller coaster now. Like if I'm in an amusement park, I'm like, I'm not doing that roller coaster. An hour or two later, I'm on that roller coaster, you know. And I love that feeling of being on a roller coaster where you're just like, this is so terrifying. And do you have regrets? You're like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And then it just happens. Okay.
Yeah,
and then you're like, this is amazing. And then you're like, I'm having the time of my life.
Yeah. The moment when you're going up, and then you know now in like 2, 3. Oh my god.
And then I know I love when they start counting down. It's like 5, 4, 3, and then and you're just so taken off guard. Like I love that.
Oh gosh,
feeling.
now I want to go back to a roller coaster.
Yes, I know. Me too. I was like, I'm gonna go find one here in Frankfurt.
There's one in, like, not in Frankfurt, but in Europa Park, Europe.
Okay.
It's like the biggest.
I will try to find one in France. Yeah.
Yeah, you can go to
Paris. Yeah, that's what
they have roller coasters.
I do think I'm gonna go to Disneyland Paris because they have the Avengers Hotel as well. So I'm gonna go.
You're an Avengers fan?
I'm a major Avengers fan. Like I'm a big Marvel fan. I really love a lot about DC as well.
Okay.
The Marvel movies all have been my favorites, and I'm a big X-Men fan. I have been since I was a kid. My favorite superhero is Jean Grey / Phoenix. Like I love Phoenix, but which also goes into like why I would also probably want to live in the world of Infinity Sun because if I have like a magic power, that would be cool. So, So yeah.
True that. Okay, I love that. Yeah, I hope Infinity Sun is coming out in German.
It comes out in in spring. In the spring, it'll so Infinity Sun releases in the spring, and then the sequel will come out sometime after, and then the third book after that.
Okay, great news for German fans. I love that. Perfect. I love it. Well, I could read in English.
Yeah, but
I don't know if I'm stuck with. If I started reading the translation, I kind of stick to the translation, or I start reading the original in the beginning.
Yeah.
So with you, I started with the translation, so I'm kind of stuck with them.
Yeah, that's cool. And obviously the translators are doing such a wonderful job because readers are still so in love with these worlds that are like not technically written in the way that I wrote them anymore, right? Like they're adapted for each international country, but yet we're all still experiencing like the same emotional beats pretty much, which I really love.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So I have 2 more questions.
Cool.
One is, I asked this all the authors I interviewed because they're all like had a kind of successful moments in the past years, and I want to know what advice would you give young authors to survive the book market?
Yeah, I mean that's a big question, you know, and it's so case by case. Like it's hard to say anything that would speak for everyone in their own respective situations. But something I really do encourage people is to write the story that no one else could write, based on who you are. Like who you are is such an exclusive perspective that no one else can replicate for your books, right? And I give this example pretty frequently, where, for example, if I had to write The Hunger Games, it'd be such a different book, because I'd write it from the perspective of a gay boy who was either trying.
Can you do it?
I was like, I could. Look, here's the thing. Like, I can write a book about, kids who are having a fight to the death for entertainment, and you can compare it to The Hunger Games, but then you're gonna read it and you're gonna be like, well, this book's actually not about the whole thing. The same with The Hunger Games is not about kids killing each other, right? Like it's about Katniss like surviving, and my book would be about like a gay boy who either is trying to get back to some boy back home or falls in love in the ring, right? And that's already a completely different story.
Exactly.
So I don't know. I just think that that's like a really a cool thing about literature as well, where like as long as you have a distinct character and an exclusive perspective, your story will be set apart.
Exactly.
So I mean
that's why love stories work every time. Because of course the stories is always kind of the same.
Yeah, we know they're gonna end up together.
But the thing is, we always have different characters or different settings or something that makes a story unique.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, and the last question is, now I have to think which is my last question.
Okay.
Because it's a bit hard to decide which one. Oh my god. Okay. What album, music-wise, would you always go to listen? Always. One album you could listen for the rest of your life.
I don't think I have an album that I would listen to for the rest of my life. I have.
Such a random question. I don't know why that came up in my mind, but it was just there.
No, I think some people are more like musically inclined that way. Like I more get obsessed with a song and I'll listen to it for weeks and weeks, right? But like I have such range. I have such like mainstream taste as well. Like I know what I'm about to list is original. Like I'm a big Beyonce fan. I love a lot of what Taylor Swift does. Like All Too Well, the 10-minute version is like it's probably my favorite song. Like I have such an emotional connection to it, and I really respond so powerfully to what Taylor's like singing about. Like I really am like.
What are you thinking of the new album? Have you
I'm saving the new album for the later this weekend.
I get that.
When I'm roaming around by myself.
Yeah, so. I tried listening it yesterday.
Yeah.
But I didn't find enough headspace.
No. And that's what I want to be able to appreciate. So I want to like.
Yeah. Good idea.
Yeah, but and I love Lana Del Ray. Like Lana Del Ray, like her music feels very like emotional and powerful to me, and so yeah, it's just such a range. But it's like whatever. I'm such a mood listener that you can ask a different question if you have a different.
I think for me, like I just love chatting with authors.
Cool.
Actually, for me, it's I don't know. I feel like interviews are kind of hard to make them new somehow because often the same questions are asked. I don't know if you experienced that.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's definitely nice when someone has like a fresh spin on some things. Every now and again, I'll get asked a question about like They Both Die at the End, where I'm like, it's been 5 years. No one's ever asked me that before.
Yeah. Do you have a question you would like to be asked by them?
And I get asked that too, and I never know. Like, there's nothing like in the moment that like has me where I'm like, oh my god, why has no one asked me about this? Because if no one's asked me something, I will find a way to get my answer in to something. I'm crafty, but I don't know. There's something that I'm like aching to be asked right now. I've also been traveling for like 3 weeks, so I feel like I've been asked a lot of questions.
Yeah, I can imagine. It was kind of hard to. I was thinking, okay, what I'm gonna ask that no one asked before, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, probably everything was already asked.
Yeah, but it's always cool because it's like what's nice about this is that everyone has a different platform.
That's
so
true. That's true.
You know, I've maybe been asked this before, but I have not answered it for your followers. You know, so that's why it's always worth like having just repeating it. You know, all the time. Even if there are times I post about things on my own, like Instagram or Twitter or whatever, and you would think that my followers are seeing that, and they don't. So, because they missed it. Maybe they were on a roller coaster when I answered that question, you know?
Who knows?
So they missed it. And then like...
Or they be reading the books and they didn't see the story.
Or they're reading the books, yeah. I mean, I've been traveling, like, I was in the UK and then in Germany. And as I'm flying to Germany, I'm seeing questions in my comments, like, on my most recent post, like, when are you coming to the UK? And I'm like, I was literally just here for like a week. And these people who are following me, right? So it's like people miss information all the time. So it's always awesome to get the opportunity to like to bring it back up. And so
I just had an idea. Next time, if I'm ever gonna interview again, we're gonna go on a roller coaster and do the interview up there.
I love that.
That would be so fun.
I would happily do that. Definitely, yeah. Talk to the team about that because I was like, I would do that.
Okay. I will save the idea, and if you're ever coming back to Germany, we try to make that happen.
If not just Photoshop it, so we can like, so we can have that experience.
I can also try it now, you know.
Yeah. Also here, do the like.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.